So they're savory skewers, and I threaded 1-inch chunks of ribeye and strip steak onto a skewer, alternating between them. I put this skewer and 3 more into a baking dish and sprinkled over a teaspoon of black pepper. Then for the marinade, I added 1/3 cup of low-sodium soy sauce to a bowl, along with 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, a few splashes of Worcestershire sauce, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, and mixed everything together. Next, I poured the marinade over the skewers, making sure they were completely coated, covered them tightly with plastic wrap, and put them in the fridge for an hour. I don't usually use 2 different kinds of meat on steak skewers, but I love this combo. It's like the perfect blend of fat and meat. Okay, I just need to let these cook for about 8 to 10 minutes, and then I can add the seafood skewers to the grill. I'm getting more and more excited by the minute. They have the most beautiful grill marks. Every time I grill steak outside, I think, I don't know why I ever make steak in an iron skillet. It's just, you cannot duplicate the flavor of those grill marks. All right, these still have a little bit of time left to cook. So now I'll move on to the seafood skewers. I'm gonna get these on, and they look marvelous. The combination of shrimp and steak is truly magical. Ordinarily, I would just do shrimp skewers, but sticking the scallops on there is so amazing. So these skewers need to grill for about 3 minutes per side. Let me tell you how I got them all ready. They're herby grilled shrimp and scallop skewers. I alternated colossal shrimp and sea scallops on 4 skewers, then just sprinkled over a teaspoon of kosher salt and 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. Then the marinade was just 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 3 cloves of minced garlic, a tablespoon of minced fresh rosemary, the zest of 2 lemons, and a teaspoon of chili flakes, all mixed together. I poured it over the skewers, coating them completely, covered them in plastic wrap, and put them in the fridge for an hour with the steak skewers. The flavors in that marinade are simply out of this world. You have to taste them to believe it. All right, these skewers are ready to turn over. Look at that, just perfect. The scallops are 8 count and the shrimp, oops, lost one. That's okay, it happens sometimes. The scallops are 8 count and the shrimp are 12 count. So they're nice and juicy and they won't overcook as easily on the grill. You can even go larger with the shrimp and scallops. The larger the better, honestly, because then you have a little bit of room for error. Sorry for the sacrificial scallop there. It's not a grill party until something falls through the grates. All right, so I'm gonna let the shrimp finish cooking, and I'm gonna get these beautiful steak skewers onto a platter. They smell so good. That's the other thing about grilling entire meals is you get so many beautiful smells. As you can see from my doggy friends who keep hanging around hoping that a little piece of steak falls onto the ground. No such luck for them so far. I still see a little bit of pink, which means they're gonna be just beautifully medium rare. For garnishing, all it needs is just a generous sprinkle of chives. Sprinkling chives outside is an adventure in Oklahoma. The wind is cooperating so far, but give it time. By the time I finish this grilled meal, it might be a little wild out here. All right, and then after the chives, I have some flaky sea salt, which is just a lovely thing to add, just to add a little more seasoning. All I can say is wow. I mean, if Ree Drummond were anywhere nearby, this platter would be empty. It looks beautiful. All right, that's the steak. Now back to the seafood. These beautiful skewers are done. That's what I love about shrimp and scallops. They do not take long to cook on a grill at all. And if you use tiny ones, they're gonna get dry, so these are really the perfect size. Okay, now these deserve a special garnish of their own, but before that, I'm gonna cover up all evidence of the sacrificial scallop. All good, it's like it never happened. All right, lemon, of course, always helps right when they come off the grill, so a nice squeeze there. And then just for extra lemon options, just kind of put some extra wedges here and there on the platter. And I think parsley is the perfect herb for this situation. So you've got the chives on the steak, the parsley on the seafood. What an inviting meal. Berry cheesecake icebox pie. Wow, so much deliciousness and very, very easy to throw together. So I just whipped some cream and I have some things to add to this mixture. Sweetness in the form of powdered sugar, and then a whole block of cream cheese because this is a cheesecake icebox pie. And for a little hint of vanilla, I'm gonna add vanilla bean paste, which truly is amazing. So I'm gonna use the mixer just to carefully mix in the powdered sugar and the cream cheese. It won't take long to mix it together. This icebox pie is such a great summer recipe because you can make it ahead of time. It's very quick to throw together, and you can just park it in the fridge. And it's better if you do because then all the ingredients sort of meld and the whole thing is just divine. All right, so that's it for the cream cheese mixture. Very simple, no eggs or anything. And now for the berry mixture, I've just got a mix of raspberries and blackberries, and I'm gonna save some berries back to decorate the top of the icebox pie when I finish building it. And then I'm gonna zest a lemon and then add the lemon zest. Icebox pies are also great because you can change up the flavor. You can use whatever berries you want. I make strawberry icebox pies all the time. Can you tell I think about food a lot? I do. I admit it. Okay, that's it for the lemon zest. And then I'll squeeze the juice of half of the lemon into the berries. Now I want this mixture to be a little bit syrupy and saucy, so I'll add a couple of tablespoons of berry preserves. This is kind of a quick way to make a berry saucy mixture. Berry saucy. All right, that's it for the pretty berry mixture. I love the blackberries in this. They're so juicy and beautiful. So I am going to assemble the icebox pie. I'm using a loaf pan. I got a big piece of plastic wrap and I put enough in it that I have sides that are overhanging. That's gonna come in handy soon. So I'm gonna start with a layer of graham crackers and I'll just kind of break them up, overlap them, whatever I need to do to get a single layer in the bottom of this loaf pan. And cream cheese mixture, I'm gonna get about a quarter of this and it goes right on the crackers. And I wanna spread it out so that it totally covers the first layer. And about a third of this berry mixture, which is getting juicier and juicier as it sits. Yum, yum. Berry desserts are definitely my favorite direction for desserts in the summertime. You don't have to be perfect about spreading out the berries, just kind of plop spoonfuls on the cream. And now I'm gonna do another layer just like that. Put one big graham cracker, some pieces. All right, more cream cheese mixture. Goodness gracious, this looks so good. And you get all that wonderful cheesecake flavor without having to do this complicated cheesecake process. More berries. Bear with me. Berry with me. Sorry. Oop. Okay. That's the second berry layer. So now I'm gonna do one last layer and I'm gonna end with an additional layer of cookies and cream. So first, more crackers, more cream, the last of the berry compote, that final layer of crackers. So look at my berry cheesecake icebox pie. It's pretty much assembled. I just want to decorate the top with extra berries. Got blackberries and raspberries, and I usually don't try to orchestrate too much in terms of like the pattern of the berries. I just let them fall where they may. And pretty little sprigs of mint. Okay, that looks so good. Now, the reason I have this overhang is partly because I want to just very lightly cover the cake. You don't want to wrap it tight and smush the topping. So now this needs to go in the fridge for 4 hours, but trust me, it's going to be worth it. It is very difficult to be patient during the 4 hours of chill time, but as I promised, you will be very, very glad you were patient. So the Icebox pie has been in the Icebox. I feel like the name should be updated to fridge pie because, you know, nobody calls them Iceboxes anymore. So here is part of the motivation for having this plastic wrap overhang. It allows you to lift the whole cake out and not mess up the cake in the process. Now, there's always this little sacrificial slice. Oh, okay, that's the first slice. That'll be my midnight snack later. All right, so I'm gonna get pretty generous with this. Let's see, oh, those graham crackers are perfectly soft. I still feel the tiniest bit of crunch, so they probably still have a really great texture. Get this onto a plate. Oh, wow. Okay, look at this. Really creamy layers. You can see the cookie in there. And honestly, some people serve their Icebox pies or Icebox cake with a spoon, so you could just scoop it out and serve it. It's not about being perfectly layered, but it is about being perfectly delicious. How beautiful, delicious, and easy can one dessert get? That was a rhetorical question, by the way. Grilled potato salad. Okay, so I started by boiling some small yellow potatoes until they were just starting to get tender, and then I cut them in half. So they've already started cooking. We don't have to worry about grilling them from the raw state. And then I'm gonna sprinkle in plenty of salt. If there's one thing this group knows, we gotta have salt on our potatoes. And pepper. Okay, so I'm gonna keep tossing these until the potatoes are totally coated, and then I'm gonna throw them on the grill pan, grill them till they're nice and brown, and then take them off the pan. See you on the other side. Someone hit fast forward. All right, this is looking yummy.
Those look good.
Yeah.
I would just eat those how they are.
Yeah, that's true.
I think they're grilled enough.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay. Last one, man down. All right, Alex, look at the grilled potatoes. And you can imagine if you use like an outdoor grill, they can really get some great color on them. I kind of stopped short and I stuck with the golden brown type of grill marks. So I'm gonna make the dressing for the grilled potato salad, and the whole point is you wanna make the dressing and toss the potatoes while they are still nice and hot. So it's a creamy dressing, and it starts with mayonnaise and sour cream. And then I've got some buttermilk and a whole bunch of yummy things to add. Claire, are you having fun yet?
Yes, so much fun.
So Worcestershire, now you're gonna know how to make grilled potato salad for all those parties you're gonna go to this summer.
Exactly. That would be perfect.
Some vinegar and some hot sauce. And then in the herb realm, I've got some fresh dill and a bunch of chopped fresh chives. I love herby, creamy dressings. Enter ranch. I love ranch dressing. I love it more and more ever since I've had my teenage boys. Ree Drummond, my son, in case you didn't know who my son was, dips his steak in ranch, believe it or not.
Next ranch on everything.
Oh, there's no lid for the...
He dips everything in ranch.
That's okay, you know what? There's no lid for the mason jar, but I'm just gonna use a fork. That's what I intended to do anyway, so it's all good. I had this planned all along. Okay, so look out. This is pretty much kind of a creamy, spicy ranch. Really delicious. Okay, and yep, I didn't forget to add anything. What a miracle. Okay, so the other thing about the potato salad is that I'm gonna use cool veggies. So I'm gonna add some chopped onions and some chopped red bell pepper. And the star of the show, it even overshadows the potatoes, chopped bacon. And then I'll sort of give it a little toss. And then you just take the dressing and pour it over. And I usually stop short and kind of add about 3/4 of the dressing until I toss everything together, and then I can kind of judge if it needs more or not. So just toss away. How yummy is this?
Actually, that's really good.
I think potato salads, this is controversial, so don't tell anyone I said this. I think they're kind of mediocre a lot of the time, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, good potato salad is wonderful, but it just can be so plain. So not only is the dressing delicious, but those grill marks on the potatoes add such amazing flavor. Okay, so then a little more herbs. I think that was the perfect amount of dressing. This is gorgeous, guys. Now the key is to make this early in the day or the day before you need it, and then cover it and pop it in the fridge and let it cool with all the dressing. I'm telling you what, this potato salad is gonna change your life. Everyone I know loves fajitas, let's face it. They are so delicious. Grilled meat served with flour tortillas, lots of fixins. Olive oil first, then Worcestershire sauce, nice and savory. Lime juice, minced garlic, some cumin for great flavor, and for heat, chili powder, 4 tablespoons. I'm not messing around here. Then red pepper flakes, salt, a little pepper, a good tablespoon of sugar, and then it's time to let the blender do the work. Okay, oh, the marinade looks fantastic. Now, I've got some boneless, skinless chicken breasts in one bag, and I'll pour half the marinade in. And then I have some delicious skirt steak in the other bag. Skirt steak is my favorite kind of meat to use for fajitas. It's so delicious. It has great fat marbled throughout. This marinade just needs to barely coat the meat to marinate it. You don't need the meat to submerge in it. Okay, I'll just move the chicken around. I want that marinade to completely coat every single piece. And I'll do the same with the skirt steak. Now, just before the guys show up, I'm gonna throw all this meat on the grill. It's gonna be divine. Okay, the meat's all coated. Now I'm gonna get it into the fridge. All right, I've got this glorious meat that's been marinating, and I'm gonna get it on the grill. I'll start with the chicken because it's gonna take a little bit longer. All of this marinated meat is gonna make the most delicious fajitas. Oh, I love fajitas for a crowd. It really is the perfect dish. All right, just a couple more. Woo, this girl's hot. It's gonna take the chicken about 4 minutes per side. I'll keep an eye on it and make sure it doesn't get too dark. And then I'll wait to throw the beef on a little bit later. All right, now I've got a bunch of flour tortillas, and I'll serve those with the fajitas. I wrapped them in foil, and I'm just gonna put them on a less hot part of the grill, and those will warm slowly. The tortillas are just some of the fixins I'm gonna serve with the fajitas. I like to serve a big bowl of grated cheese, big bowl of sour cream, that's my favorite, I think. And then, of course, a big bowl of pico de gallo. Pico de gallo is always in my fridge, and it goes with just about everything. And then I also serve jarred salsa, because it's just a slightly different flavor. The kids really like it. And then some shredded green leaf lettuce. I just slice it really thin with a sharp knife. Then they can sort of make fajita tacos. And then, of course, to squeeze over the top, a dish of lime wedges. Okay, it's got great color on the outside. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get the beef on. It is gonna be gorgeous. Now, the beef doesn't take quite as long to cook as the chicken. I like to just throw it on, wait about a minute, and then flip it over. There we go. Big old slab of meat. There is nothing prettier than that. Second piece. Skirt steak is really, really thin, so really just about a minute and a half per side should cut it. I'll just let the beef cook, then I'll flip it over, and I'll just keep moving forward with lunch. All right, now to go with the whole fajita spread, I'm gonna make some delicious veggies. I've got some sliced onions and seeded and sliced bell peppers, all different colors. I just drizzled them with olive oil, sprinkled them with salt and pepper, and I've got this really awesome grill pan, and I'm just gonna throw the vegetables on there. The grill pan is nice and hot, so it's gonna start cooking them immediately. This is my favorite way to cook veggies on the grill. It keeps them contained, but you still get that great grill flavor. All right, I'm just gonna let the veggies cook, and then I'll head inside and pull this whole meal together. The chicken looks fantastic. It's still nice and juicy, but it's done. The outside is just coated in wonderful color. It looks fantastic.
It's your kind of meal, isn't it, Dad?
Blueberry crisp dump cake. It's kind of the best of both worlds. It's a blueberry crisp and a dump cake, and it is so amazing, and you're not gonna believe how easy it is. I started by spreading a can of blueberry pie filling into the bottom of this baking dish. And since I'm using canned pie filling, I'm gonna kinda spike it with some fresh blueberries. So again, you get the best of both worlds. Okay, and I'm gonna save some back and use some more in a second. Now, just in case you missed the memo about dump cakes use boxed cake mix. And it's kind of like a fruit cobbler when it's all said and done. I am using a vanilla cake mix, but once you start making dump cakes, you'll realize that there is no end to the varieties you can make. I always think a vanilla or yellow cake mix is so good for a fruit cobbler, but I've done spice cake versions, I've done chocolate cake versions. The list goes on, and they're so much fun. Okay, now what's important now is that you not stir it together. I'm just gonna keep it dry and spread it so that it's in an even layer. And already that pie filling is kind of starting to get sucked into that cake mix. Alrighty, so the first thing you do is take 12 tablespoons of butter. I'm just gonna warn you, this is a buttery proposition. And you can cut them into small pieces if you want, but I just like to leave them in big chunks. But the beauty of any dump cake is this layer of butter on top. And again, you don't want to mix it in, just leave it as is. And then I told you I'd sprinkle on the rest of the blueberries. So I'll add the rest of these here. And then you kind of get blueberries on the various layers. All right. Now I'll scoot that over, and I am going to make a crisp topping just like I would make for any fruit crisp. And that's just a classic combo of flour, brown sugar, and oats, and then more butter. A little bit shocking the amount of butter that's in this. But the thing is, this dump cake is so rich, and a little goes a long way. Oh, a couple more ingredients. A little bit of baking soda and a little bit of baking powder. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add some salt. And I'm gonna grab my pastry cutter and just cut this mixture together. I would use this same crisp topping if I was making any sort of blueberry crisp or apple crisp, which by the way are amazing summertime treats. Okay, so you want to keep cutting this mixture together until you don't see any more of the flour, and it all looks perfect to me. So this little crisp topping just goes all over the top of the blueberry dump cake. Don't want to leave any of that in there. When I was a little girl, my mom used to make fruit crisps, and I don't know why, but I would just eat the crisp. And so like I'd go and scrape crisp topping off into a bowl. It was like a really nice oatmeal cookie. My mom would walk into the kitchen and be like, Ree! Thank you for listening. I just wanted to share that moment from my childhood. I also used to get her fresh bread that she pulled out of the oven and like reach under the crust and pull the soft bread out. I'm gonna stop now. I have so many stories about my oddities as a child. Okay, this is all over in an even layer, so I'm gonna put it into a 375-degree oven, and it's gonna bake for about 45 minutes, and then I'll take it out and let it cool. The dump cake is out of the oven. It looks amazing. I let it sit and cool for a while. You never want to pull a dump cake out of the oven and serve it right away because it kind of needs to settle in. The filling needs to kind of thicken a little bit and it'll be really messy and too hot to eat anyway. So it's still warm, but really, really nice. So I want to serve this. Normally I would cover it with foil and take it to my destination, but I really want you to feast your eyes on this gorgeous cake. Lots of crisp topping, just the way I liked it as a little girl, but it kind of just falls apart when you put it on the plate and you can see kind of that bright purple blueberry pie filling and then those fresh blueberries that kind of burst open. Now, if I was taking this with me, I would usually take along some whipped cream. I'll either whip it fresh like I did here, or you can just take a can of like canned whipped cream. Of course, dump cake is also wonderful with any flavor of ice cream. So you could do like strawberry ice cream and embrace the berry side of things. My, oh me, oh my. Look at this. I love the texture, I love the flavor, I love that it's just slightly warm, so delicious and very vintage. Kid-friendly pasta salad. I've got some radiatore pasta, which is really cute and frilly, and I drained it and rinsed it under cold water because I need it to be cold when I add all the other ingredients. And now I'm gonna fry up some bacon. This is one of the reasons this is a kid-friendly pasta salad. I've never met a kid that argued with bacon. I'll put in about 8 slices or so. I'm gonna cook the bacon until it's just beyond the chewy stage, just so it's slightly crisp. Okay, now I'm gonna get started on the dressing. I'll start with half a cup of mayonnaise, and then I'll add a half a cup of milk, and then just plain white vinegar. I'll add about 3 tablespoons. So I'll whisk this together. Yeah, that looks just right. You don't want it to be too thick. You want it to be nice and pourable so it'll coat all the pasta. Now I'll add some salt and plenty of black pepper. Give it a stir. And that's the dressing. Simple as that. Okay, and with that, the bacon is done. Don't want it to get too crisp. I'm gonna drain it on a paper towel so the pasta salad won't be too greasy. All right, now let that cool for a minute. Now I'm gonna throw together the salad. I'll just put the cheese in. I've got about a half a pound of mild cheddar cheese, very palatable for all kids, and the lovely yellow and red tomatoes. I've got about 10 ounces of tomatoes, give or take. And now the bacon is cool. I'm just gonna give it a rough chop. There's almost more extras than there is pasta in the pasta salad. Then for a little flavor, I've got 3 green onions. Yummy. Now I'll just pour in the dressing. I need a spoon for this. Oh, so pretty. Now, to really send this kid-friendly pasta salad over the top, I'm gonna add some fresh basil.